2021 is getting at least as crazy.
Yeah, to say the least.
To say the least. Here we go.
Just crazy when we left yesterday. You know, we didn't anticipate what would be unfolding. So we will get to everything that happened. And as you guys can imagine, players and coaches across the NBA were united in response to the United States Capitol building being stormed yesterday. The Celtics and Heat issued a joint statement and took a knee during the anthem of their game, and several other teams locked arms in unity before their games. 76ers head coach Doc Rivers also shared his thoughts with reporters. Take a listen.
It's pretty disturbing, obviously, sad. But what is not is I keep hearing this attack on democracy. It's not. Democracy will prevail. It always does. I'll say it because I don't think a lot of people want to. Could you imagine today if those were all black people storming the Capitol and what would have happened? You know? So that, to me, is a picture that's worth 1,000 words for all of us to see.
Shannon, what was your reaction to what Doc said?
My reaction to what Doc said was the very thing that Doc said, and I tweeted it before Doc had an opportunity to speak. And Skip, what we got an opportunity to see yesterday is two different Americas. And why the NBA and the WNBA and so many people around the country, especially blacks, have been taken to the streets. It says, we're treated differently. Now, we hear what you tell us, that America is the land of, and America is great. But we're saying we're treated differently in similar circumstances as white people. We're seeing it. And Skip, everybody got an opportunity, just like the George Floyd, we saw the man life leave his body on live television. We saw yesterday on live television, two different Americas. And what we saw is that white America doing rioting and looting. The Capitol. Skip, if this was a third world country, and I'm old enough to remember that when in Iran, when they overthrew the government, and I saw the people storm the embassy. Mm-hmm. I remember that. I remember seeing in banana republics where they overthrow and they hold the government hostage and they say, leave or else. That's what it was yesterday. This was sedition, Skip. This is what they're trying to do, is overthrow a government by using force. That's treasonous. You can't do, Skip, you can't, because your candidate lost her. Skip, this is not a dictatorship. This is a democracy. And what it says, the Constitution says, whomever gets the most votes, because Skip, you know, back when they set it up, people ran against each other. Whoever got the most votes was president. Whoever got the next most votes was vice president. That's how it worked. But somehow along the way, the man that's in office has convinced the people, if I lose, it's a rigged election. Well, what happens if you win? The people love me. A lot of the people, the enablers, from the senators to the Republicans, Skip, have enabled him. They were on the very ticket that he lost on, but they won. Theirs was legit, his was rigged. I heard Jaylen Brown and I heard Jason Tatum, and what they're saying is, how is it now that white America, that we've been asking you to hear us and say there's two different Americas, and you tell us, no, 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 everything's the same? Skip, I want to ask this. If you're not going to treat white America like you treat black America, can you treat black America like you treat white America? I'm not saying they should have been shot. I'm not saying they should have been tear gassed. I'm not sure they should have been pepper sprayed. But if they shouldn't have been that, should blacks get that treatment? That's all we're asking, is to be fair about it. Skip, that's the good. Now, we saw this earlier, Skip. We saw this in Lansing. We saw them storm the Capitol with their long rifles and their gun and shut it down. Now, we saw this. He was like, oh, well, you know, that's just an isolated. Remember now, the term they like to use is isolated. Man, that's an isolated incident. We saw what transpired when in Charlottesville. Well, you know, there's nice people, there's good people on both sides. But this is what happens when you enable a person and you allow them to create Godzilla. And then when Godzilla starts trampling the city, oh my God, how could Godzilla do that? You made him. You created this. And the black athlete says, you know what? We've been trying to tell you, trying to tell you. But because it's never happened, what's happened to some of us has never happened to you, you don't believe it. You don't believe that blacks are treated differently. Skip, it's amazing how when you don't want to confront someone, when you don't want to harm someone, the lengths that you will go through to make sure you don't do that. Now, I saw them help a lady. Skip, I don't know how she got up in the building to begin with, but they had to help her down the stairs. Now, I saw them push a Black Lives Matter protester to the ground and split his head open. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. I see police inside the Capitol taking selfies with some of the rioters. They're not protesting because I don't understand what they protest. You lost the race. You see what the lengths someone will go through, Skip? If I don't want to harm you, I'll go the extra mile. I see security running back up. They got handguns. We got a hand on his gun now. He never felt in fear for his life. He didn't shoot anybody. Now, one woman did get shot in the Capitol, but I'm like, and as Doc said, I just want to know, Skip. I just want someone to tell me. And I want you to explain it to me like I need to be like 10 or 11. So I'm old enough to understand, but not so much to have formed this too great of an opinion. If 10,000 blacks, as Doc said, had stormed the Capitol when they're going through the process to certify an incoming president, if 10,000 blacks had convened on the Capitol and took it over, do you think the reaction would have been similar or would have been greater? And that's what black athletes, that's what Doc's talking about. That's what Jaylen Brown is talking about. That's what has Michelle Roberts, the head of the NBA PA, Skip. That's what has her seething. These two Americas that we've been telling you that's been in place for 400 years, and you keep telling us no, 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 and now we got a chance to see. What are you going to do about it, America? Because we saw it, and you saw it. I'm good.
You good?
Yes.
I love everything you just said. I believe with all my heart and soul in every point you made. And I have echoed all your emotions for months and years on this show. But in this case, this very rare and unique case of what happened yesterday, I'm not sure any of that really applies to this, because this was an historically, shamefully, shockingly, dangerously unique moment in the history of this country. Our Capitol building got stormed because the man who still sits in the Oval Office wanted it to happen.
Yes.
Simple as that. So this wasn't some garden variety white protest. Let's say a bunch of white people showed up outside the Capitol protesting animal cruelty. And they went over the edge and they stormed the White House and they were allowed to sashay all the way into the Senate chamber. Did that happen yet? Nope, that's not what happened. Can I remind everybody of what happened back on June 13th? Remember that fateful night when our president, who still has about 13 days left?
20th, so whatever the day is for 2 weeks.
Okay, 2 weeks left. 2 very dangerous weeks left. Do you remember that he decided he wanted a photo op at St. John's Church across the street from the White House?
Yes.
And there was a whole bunch of Black Lives Matter protesters.
They were just standing.
Just standing. And it was about 50-50 black and white people. Yes. And all of a sudden, under orders from the Oval Office, here come the riot police. And they are dressed to, quote unquote, kill. You remember this?
Yes.
And they resorted to using all kinds of tear.